Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 476, Mr. Somich.
Horseshoe, huzzah!
Hey, now we're back. I feel like we're gonna hit a big ticket very soon. We're both. It's like when you've been out fishing. It's been a really slow morning, but like towards the end of it, you start getting a bunch of nibbles. You're like, okay, we're starting to at least get the bait hit. We're like getting a lot of 4 or 5s recently. So we haven't hit one, but I've got a good feeling we're gonna hit a big one soon, Mike.
Yeah, I wanted that pick 6 at Santa Anita. I'm not gonna lie. Going 5 or 6 on that one, I was a little salty about that. I'm excited about this one though. Man, the first and last race were a train wreck. We've got 2 stakes races, and I love a 6-1 shot in one of those 2 races. We'll actually watch the replay a little bit later just so I can kind of highlight why. I do have to say, too, though, this first race, have you ever seen a race where the highest last out buyer, actually the highest buyer period, is a 5?
It's not too often you see that, no.
It's special. That's what you get here. It's going to be fun, though. And tomorrow, Car Ramrod mentioned it up in the chat as well. The $80,000 Pick 5 carryover at Horseshoe tomorrow. So that is a good one as well. So it's a horseshoe kind of week, man. I'm surprised. Do you have a horseshoe?
I do, actually, yeah. From Chancelot.
There you go. Yep.
The Jorge Navarro sprinter.
Yep. Oh, I remember him. Yeah, I don't have a horseshoe. I need to get one of those at some point.
It is, yeah. No, it was a race-worn horseshoe, so it was a prized possession of mine until suddenly it wasn't. But yes, we are covering Wednesday's Pick 5 at Thistledown, Wednesday, June 28th. That's races 5 through 9. They do end with a quarter horse, but that's not part of the Pick 5 sequence. So races 5 through 9, 2 races in here are Indiana-bred handicap stakes. One of us was like, hey, this is fun. I'll single in one and I'll go 2 deep in the other. And the other one wanted to pull his hair out. So we'll see who is who in this one. But it's going to be a fun sequence. You ready to talk about it?
Yeah, let's do it, man. This one's going to pay. These are 5 tough races.
This will be a good one. Let's get into it. Riders up. All right, Mike, first leg of the Horseshoe Indianapolis late pick 5 on Wednesday, June 28th. Race 5, we've got 10 2-year-old Indiana-sired maiden fillies sprinting 5 furlongs on the dirt. So not only do we have to try and parse through the 2-year-olds, half of this field hasn't started yet. They're also Indiana-bred, so a lot of the pedigree knowledge that we have coming into this, if we don't follow the Indiana circuit very frequently, a little tough here. Where did you go on top?
And we also have 4 horses of the 10 coming out of a last race. 3 of those 4 got a 0 buyer. The horse that ran second in that race got a 5, and that's your high buyer in the field. This is going to be an interesting one. I went to the 4 horse. Go Munka here, 15-1 on the morning line. This is a trainer-owner combo for Sergio Dewan, who is 2 for 5 with first-time starters, and it doesn't look like there's any special workouts until you go back to 3, 4, and 5. 4, 5, and 6 back. We got 36 and 3, 36 and 1, and that 35 and 4 out of the gate. So this is someone who has had success getting first-time starters out. He trains all his own horses, so you don't see the name very often. He is 2 for 8 for the year. This one to me looks like it's ready to go. You're getting 15-1. Ramos takes the mount, 16% here at Indiana Grand. I'm going to try and start out with a bomb here. Give me the 4 at 15-1 on top.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I didn't use this horse, but it's an intriguing move because it's an owner-trainer that in 8 career starts that this guy's ever had. 2 of them wins. He's got a second and a third as well. So he's, 8 career starters as a trainer and a 25% win rate, 50% in the money. I mean, that's pretty damn good. It's kind of hard to do better than that, and he's doing it with horses that he owns and breeds as well. So I didn't use, but especially at a price is intriguing here. Top pick for me, I did go with the number 1, Jay's Naughty Kitten at 3-1. I thought it was a good debut effort to get second last time out. 5.5 lengths clear of third. Three different horses in that field are back in this one. This horse was a 2-1 second choice there, so it's not like she was a big surprise to get up for second like she did. Just didn't have the jump on the winner, and then the winner was running with the winner kind of in the top of the stretch, and then actually the 8 horse that's in here blocked her and kind of impeded her enough that she had to stop, and the winner just kept on going. The one kept running once she was able to get clear again, but I thought that she was worthy of top pick, definitely worthy of being the favorite, I think, in here.
Yeah, I expect her to be the favorite. I mean, she finished second in a field of 5 and was like you said, was 2-1 in that race. So you'd expect that she's going to get bet down again here. Also sold for $25,000. Doesn't sound like a lot compared to some of the numbers we talk about when we're covering Belmont and Del Mar and Saratoga, but $25,000 is exponentially more than anyone else in this field as a sales price. So you'd expect the one's going to have some talent. That being said, I didn't use the one. I don't love the post position draw here, being the rail of 10 horses going 5 furlongs. You're not going to get a great trip. I think the outside draw was much better for her. The 8 is, to me, Rojas for Luz is or Luz probably is clearly the speed of the speed. I think crosses over and causes trouble here in this spot for some of the speed on the inside. The 3 has some speed, ended up running 5th in that race, but was behind the 8. So you're just going to have to work out a trip from that one post. And I'm just not sure you're going to be able to do it. And I'm not sure any horse in this field is talented enough to work out a trip from the one post, just because you're going to probably have to pass 6 or 7 horses to be able to win the race. And that's just not something I was interested in. My second pick was also a first-time starter. Go all the way to the outside here for Michelle Elliott, owner, trainer, breeder, Rafaela here, 9-2, gets Martin Pedroza up. Martin Pedroza Jr. up, 15% first-time starters. She's a very good trainer. She knows what she's doing. I like that this is a homebred. Generally, that's what she is training. The two of them combined for 17% win percentage with a $2.33 ROI. And I mentioned the trip. I kind of like being on the outside here. I like the idea of being outside of all the speed, especially if you're going to show some pace here. I think the position draw is not bad at all for 5 furlongs. I'm expecting some speed, not anything crazy, but some, and then see if we can get by everybody down the lane. Also like that 48-2 work, 4 of 57, 3-back out of a gate.
Yeah, I went too deep. I used the 1 and I used the 10. I thought the 10 was the best of the new shooters. And from following the 2-year-old series at Indiana-bred this year, which is something I never thought I would do, but the morning lines have been pretty on to which horses as first-time starters will probably do well. So the fact that they're giving this first-timer a 9-2 rating when the only horse is shorter are the second and third place horses from Jay's Naughty Kit and Roses for Luz. So I think that's a pretty big sign that this horse is expected to do well. You can watch the tote too, because this will be the race that kicks off the pick 5. If she gets hammered, I think you'll know that the word is out on this one.
Yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on the tote here on the 4 and the 10, as well as the 7 and the 9. Doc brought him up in the chat here. Her trains both of those horses. I wasn't really able to separate him. I ended up using the 9 Cashmere Justice on my ticket simply because he went to the jockey Perez that he has most of his mounts with. He's got 53 mounts with Perez, 36 with Anderson. However, he's got a better ROI with Anderson, so some big prices have gotten home for him. If you want to expand my ticket, I would add the 7. In this case, I'm just using the 9 there, not the 7 as well. But I am going to go 4 deep, and I'm going to use the 8. Rosas for Luz. Look, this one just seems like I want the speed in this race. Everything could be a train wreck here. And I realize this one really packed it in when you watch the replay. I mean, was clearly in the lead, had like a length lead going into the stretch and lost by 8. So I'm talking like just backed up like a champion. However, was bet down to $1.30 that day, $1.30 to 1. So took a ton of money. Now you're getting second out. We know this horse is going to be forwardly placed in a field that leaves a lot to be desired, and where I just don't think these horses can overcome much. And I know the 8 doesn't have to overcome anything here. So I felt like you kind of had to use the 8. So I ended up 4 deep here with the 4, 8, 9, and 10. If any of them scratch, the 7 would be the next on. If you want to expand my ticket, I would use the 7 as well.
I want to bring up Chris Melos asking the important questions in the chat. If they're all Indiana-breds, does that mean that they're all cousins?
Probably second cousins.
Yeah, they have a little bit of, it's not West Virginia here. There's a little bit of distance there between the gaps there. Let's move on, Mike, before we get in trouble. Second leg of the Horseshoe Indy, late pick 5 on Wednesday, June 28th, race 6. 10 fillies and mares 3 and up, routing 1 mile on the turf. Non-winners of 2 lifetime in for 25K tags. There's also an MTO, but we're going to pretend that they're going to be fast and firm. For Wednesday, where'd you go on top?
I couldn't find a ton of speed in here, so give me the 2. Oath of Allegiance on top. First time trying turf for Joe Sharp, but this is a massive class drop here, right? We're talking like huge class drop, going from $40,000 claimers at Churchill down to $25,000 claimers here at Horseshoe, Indiana that are N2X. So a huge drop in class. This one has shown speed before, one going gate to wire, going 1.70 miles to break the maiden at Fairgrounds. I think she just kind of found her friends in this spot. I think she gets the lead from that 2-post. I think Parker sends. And again, I'm not sure anyone really runs her down. The only threat from a speed perspective in my mind was the 3 Blame It on Paris, who ends up on the ticket as well, because I think one of these two are in front, and whichever one makes the lead, I'm scared of.
So we each went 4 deep here, and we agree on 3 of them, including their top picks. Actually, I think probably all of them are going to be their top 3 picks here will be in order. But I went the same with you. With the 2 takes to the turf, she's gone. Then she's going to wire this field. And you've got to love that she's on the inside, and you've got a good jockey in Deshaun Parker riding her that can handle, her being inside, carrying lower weight because she's 3 years old. So I like her in here. I like Blame It on Paris. Two best career efforts. Only turf try to date when she was a 3-2 favorite at Ellis, and then she broke her maiden at Turfway Park on the synthetic. So good signs there. Both efforts were against 50K maiden claimers. 2 of the 3 times she's been on the dirt, the race was really originally scheduled for the turf. It sounds like Brissett really believes this is a turf horse, just trying to find the right spot for Blame It on Paris. So again, especially if this one stays on the turf, I think you're getting great value on these horses at 8 and 10 to 1 on the morning line.
I was really interested to see if you use this horse, because everything points to using it, right? With Brissett sending it in here, the $50,000 level, being successful with maidens, half of it 25. Obviously, we talk about that as a quick angle to see where they're placed correctly. But the daddy is Blame, and I know how you feel about Blame on turf.
I got no issue with Blame on turf. Nope, no more issues.
I think one of these two gets the lead. I think whichever one does, I think is dangerous. Blame It on Paris coming out of a 6 furlong dirt sprint over the slop, was forwardly placed there, going 23. Has been close to the pace, going 22 and 4. So clearly some speed from both the 2 and the 3. I had the 2 on top. My second pick was actually the 10 horse here, Tall Girl, who I kind of feel like you have to use this horse. I don't love the post. I don't love the setup, but this is Mike Maker bringing this one in, dropping down from $75,000 optional claimers at Gulfstream all the way down here to this $25,000 level. 3 to 1, I think, is a pipe dream on this horse. I think this horse goes off at 4 to 5, somewhere in that range. And logically makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, and I used. That's funny. So we both went 2, 10, 3 in order for this race. That's funny that that's how that worked out. I completely agree with all the points you made. I also like that. Last time out was the first time Mike Maker had this horse, and he had them at Gulfstream Post Championship meet and saw what he did against that allowance company. And was like, okay, this isn't your level. Let's try you down here. Like, he's a smart trainer. He spots his horses correctly. I know he's only 7% in the last year at Horseshoe Indy, but it's great. He doesn't really come here that often. But he's going to put Tall Girl here, and I think this is a good spot for her as well. The only other time that she ran for a tag, by the way, like in a full claiming race, she broke her maiden by 1.5 lengths, and that was it for $75,000. So I used her as well. So the last one for me, and if I had gone 5 deep, I would have used yours. So I like yours as well. But for me, the last on, number 7, Zing at 8 to 1. Horse's form hasn't been that great in a little while, but the trainer's 11 for 33 at the track and 24% overall nationwide in the last year. Only career turf try for this horse, pressed the pace locally. It was 9 to 5 versus Open Allowance Company, faded to 6th. Once the horse kind of packed it in, the jockey stopped trying. So well beaten 6th in that race. But I like the trainer angle. I like the price on this horse. I'm just hoping we can try and turn things around, and maybe being back on turf will wake this horse up a little bit.
Yeah, kind of surprising when you look at that run line, too, that the horse had the lead through the half mile, right? I mean, even the lead through the 6 furlongs, never in the horse's career have you seen it anywhere near the lead, really, outside of that one race, and has a 62 early time form rating. So when you see a horse that does something that drastically different than the strategy in every other race, kind of makes you draw a line through that one as well. So I'm going to say it was more the style, not the turf, that this horse didn't like. Respect it, didn't use it. I used the 8 horse Ultimate Mission here. This one to me is just, look, going to need to take a big step forward. But I like the fact that we're actually jumping up in class here, first time out as a 4-year-old. And this one is bred to run on the turf. I mean, this is a Noble Mission out of a Mizzen Mass mare. You've got the turf win 2 back at this track, at this distance. It wasn't $15,000 maiden claiming, but it was coming from off the pace. I've got a couple speed horses here. I don't mind taking a shot with a horse coming from a little bit behind. You're going to get every bit of that 10 to 1 price. And look, again, Ethan West, not a well-known trader, only 69 starts in 2023, 12%, but is 13% with a $4.11 ROI after a 180-plus day layoff. So knows how to get a horse ready, knows how to get it going, and then you go back and you look at these workouts 2 and 3 back over the synthetic. 47 and 4, 2 out of 45, and then a bullet, 1 out of 29, 47 and 3. This horse seems like it is in its peak form. You get a first-time out 4-year-old, and you get a trainer that is scoring with prices at this exact spot. So give me the 8 here as the last horse on for me.
Yeah, this, like I had mentioned, this is the one that I considered, and I ultimately went with the 7 instead of the 8. If I have any scratches, I'm definitely throwing this horse on the ticket. The biggest concern for me was a combination of the long layoff plus the big jump up in tag, right? So we're going up to the 25K level. Feels like she might just need a race, but you're getting 10 to 1 on her, especially if that price holds. She'd be very interesting. I definitely respect the play here. Just didn't pull the trigger for me. But again, if I have any scratches, I'm definitely throwing this in. Just like for you, if you have any scratches, sounds like the 7 is next up for you.
Yeah, it is. The 2 horses I considered using and didn't, the 9, Luminous, 7 to 2 on the morning line, and the 5, Livy B, 5 to 1 on the morning line. Did you look at either of those? I mean, because they kind of fit with the drop down here a little bit, but they neither seem to like to win that much.
No, and I felt like they were both kind of the same horse. Like I watched the last replay against each other, and I was like, the difference in order of finish was that one beat the other to the punch first. It was kind of like Mage and Angel of Empire in the Derby, right? Like Mage beat Angel of Empire to the holes first, so he got the better. He had the better trip. I think that was the difference. And I also felt based on that, if I've got to use one, I've got to use the other. And now I'm using half the field and I just added 2 very short prices that I don't feel super excited about.
Yeah, that to me was the other key here. I wanted to if I'm going to use the 10, who I think is going to get bet down, and I'm spreading, I don't want to be using the 2nd and 3rd favorite as well.
Let's move on, Mike. Third leg of the Horseshoe Indy, late pick 5 on Wednesday, June 28th. Race 7 is the first of 2 Indiana-bred handicap stakes going 6 furlongs on the dirt. This is the Checkered Flag for 12 fillies and mares 3 and up, plus 2 also eligibles. Tell us why you love the horse you do in this spot.
I'm going to single here. It's not an easy race, but I'm going to single a 6 to 1 horse here, the 10 horse Hot Little Thing, an Indiana-bred. And this is why it's important to watch replays. I'm going to pull the replay up here real quick. And this horse got a 78 buyer, which tied the career high for this horse. It was first time in the Brian Lynch barn. And this is an allowance race here at Indiana Grand. It's the 1 horse. Now, the comment line reads, hop start, split rivals 3/16. They got the hop start correct. But man, when you look at the rest of this, it's like, look how much this horse gets left. So way back of the pack. Now, immediately that's 5 lengths, which if you're talking about time, that's about, 0.8 to 1 full second. So that improves the buyer right out of the gate there. Now watch the trouble this horse has through the race too. Rushes up here and goes behind the 4 and the 2, has to check it back here, so loses the momentum in this spot. And now when we go around the turn, both the 6 and the 7 box this horse in from the outside. So he's just got a handful of horse here and he can't go. And all of this is affecting the time, which is affecting the buyer. And I'll tell you why that's relevant in a second here. Now, watch what happens when the 1 finally gets room, because we're still not loose.
Nope.
Once we get to the top of the stretch, we have to dive inside of the 4 and skim the rail. And then this horse never gets touched. Not once. This is just one of those where it's like a freak performance, but you don't see it on paper. And watch how geared down this horse is now in the last 16th of a mile. I'm talking full-on canter. That horse won so easily with such an atrocious trip that I would be willing to argue that if the trip was clean, that's a 88 buyer, and this horse is 6 to 5 in this field. I think that race is wildly good when you actually watch it back, and it's not nearly as good when you look at it on paper. So I'm going to single the 10 horse Hot Little Thing here. I also like the fact that we know the horse can stalk now too, which I think is important with the 7 and 8.
She's a winner of a Indiana-bred stakes against 2-year-olds last year. Dominated them by 14.5 lengths going the same distance. And you got to like that Alex Ashard has kind of traveled around with her as well. Went to Aqueduct for the stakes to start the year in the Cicada, and it didn't go well, but that's okay. She's facing Indiana-breds. That was open company Aqueduct during the Kentucky Oaks Trail season, so not going to fault you for that one. Yes, I used her here. I did not single. I ended up actually going 5 deep in here because I thought this was a pretty contested spot in this race. I went with number 12, Very Amelia at 9 to 2 on top. To me, there's a lot of speed signed on in here, and the 10 has shown that she can sit off a little bit, but the 7 and 8, you got to know they're going. The 10 is going to be part of the early pace. She gets a cleaner trip than last time anyway. I think the 12 is going to sit a perfect stalking trip, pounce on what I think is inevitably going to be a collapse of at least a couple horses. She's third off the layoff, third start at age 5. She's finished in the money in 12 of her 15 career dirt sprint starts, and you got a trainer-jockey combo at 19%. And then next up for me, number 2, Chandana, at 8-1. Second off the layoff after getting sucked into a speed duel last time out versus several of these horses, and she faded pretty badly there. But she ran second in this race last year. She's got multiple wins from off the pace if she can settle, and I think that's going to be the key here. But I like that I'm getting 8-1 on a horse that, again, was second in this race last year. Last time out, 5-2 off of the long layoff, and now she's 8-1 in this spot when I'm expecting improvement. For me, I felt like those were the reason I had to take her in here.
She was my second pick. If I was going to go too deep here, I considered going just 210. I decided to single the 10 so that I could spread, go 4 deep in 3 of the 4 legs, or 3 of the 5 legs. But if I used another horse here, it would be the 2. Because to me, they, like you said, that was first off a layoff. And I don't think that was necessarily the trip they wanted, especially with both the 7 and the 8 who were in that race, burning it up front. I don't think you wanted the 2 on the pace that day. I think you're going to sit off it here, should get an inside trip, save ground around the turn, and get a fairly good trip. I think the 10's better, but I do respect the 2 as well. And that's one that I considered using on my ticket and ended up not pulling the trigger.
The other 2 formula runs from quick. Doc brought up one of them, the 11 Karimba at 8-1, never off the board in 6 career starts, including winning her dirt debut last time out by a gear down 4.5 lengths. Pretty impressive, especially when you consider we hadn't seen her since August of 2021, 624 days that she was missing. She has that huge effort. I like that the trainer brings her back 2 months later, gives her some time because that was a big effort. And yes, she was very much geared down in that spot, but you just want to take your time with her. Second start off the layoff, second start at age 5, a lightly raced filly. I don't think there's any reason she shouldn't improve here. It's going to be a tougher field than she faced there, but it was very impressive what she did off the long layoff. And then I also used the number 8 Poetic Verse at 4-1. Horse is third off the layoff, third start at age 4. First or second in 7 of 8 career dirt sprints. The only time she was off the board is when she had that big gap in between starts, and so maybe it was just the long year got caught up to her. Maybe something went wrong, but I'm willing to forgive that one. Last time out, she got hung 4 wide. Not her fault. Couldn't reel in the winner. Didn't have the punch there, but she did win off of that layoff here by almost 4 lengths, and that was 176 days away. So 12, 2, 11, 8, and 10 for me in this race.
Yeah, I considered using the 7 and the 8 as the 2 speeds as the other 2. It's tough because it's kind of like I feel like you use one, you use the other, because the horse that's been inside has won both times, whichever one had the inside goes. And it's just we've talked about inside speed all the time on this show. The inside speed won both times that they faced each other. And now they're facing off a third time, and the 7's inside. So it's hard for me to say, okay, I'm going to use the 8, but not use the 7 after we've had that result twice. One more thing about hot little thing. We talked about this as an Indiana-bred stakes. We talked about the prices of Indiana horses. We talked about Army Mule last year, about being one of the best sires going right now, anywhere, any distance, any surface. Army Mule stands for 12.5. This is a $125,000 Indiana-bred by Army Mule. There was talent the whole time with this horse, and I think it's going to come out on Wednesday.
We'll find out, especially Mike is going to be hoping because he singled her in this spot. And I have a feeling maybe, just maybe, on Do To Bet Daily, we might be talking about this race a little bit more. We'll tune in on Wednesday, June 28th to Do To Bet Daily to find out if it's this or the next race that we end up talking about.
For you.
Yes.
What price do you think I get on Hot Little Thing?
5-1.
Equinedge is guessing 7-5 because they have their own morning line, and I was surprised by that number because I was thinking 4-1 somewhere in that range.
I mean, I'm not laughing at their prediction model. I'm just laughing that off a 6-1 morning line. I mean, it could happen. It just, wow, there goes all the value you think you're getting a 6-1, right?
It will be interesting, right? Because I'm hoping we're talking like somewhere between 4 and 5-1. I think the horse should be closer to 2-1 as a fair price, but we'll see what actually happens on race day.
Sounds like Scotty agrees with you. Penultimate leg of the Horseshoe Indy, late pick 5 on Wednesday, June 28th, race 8, the second of 2 Indiana-bred sired handicap stakes, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. This is the Brickyard for 12 males, 4 and up, plus 2, also eligibles. Where are you going on top?
The Brickyard. I see what they did there. Little Indy 500 tip of the cap, right? Give me the 4, Latigo on top here. Pretty easy handicap. We got 5-1. Randy Klopp in here. Orlando Mojica going to get the ride. If you simply take out every race that's 2 turns, this horse is real good. Win by 2, win by 7, win by 1, then comes back, win by 4, ran second, missed by a length and a half, first time out as a 4-year-old, second off the layoff. Blitzes a career high buyer and wins by a length and a half. This is a very good horse going 1 turn, and the form's a little bit muddy. We're also now facing state bred competition. The last 2 races were open competition. And oh, by the way, it's the son of my boy, Jimmy Creed. So I love that as well. I think Latigo is the top pick here, 5-1 on the 4 horse.
Well, you don't even have to completely scratch off all the 2-turn races here because the horse did actually beat Indiana-breds going a 2-turn mile last year in the $250,000 Governor's Stakes. So I think the horse is showing the talent there. Yeah, I used the 4 here. I went 3 deep. Next up for me, number 11. Nobody listens at 7-2. Defending race champion, first of all. Speed of the speed, could win gate to wire in 12 career dirt sprint starts for this horse. 7 wins, 4 seconds and a third. That third came at Oaklawn in January, which is facing better horses than almost any horse in here has faced, aside from another one that I'm using. But definitely wanted to use the 11 here because I think he's got a real strong chance to go gate to wire.
Yeah, the 11 is the one that I'm scared of. I'm going to use Fortin Hill, the 7 horse, surely on a class play here. I think that Fortin Hill is just a nice little spot. We've been running against much better. Last time faced Cody's Wish. The time before that was a winner in a $100,000 optional allowance at Keeneland. The time before that lost to Nakatomi and endorsed at Keeneland. The time before that was the last time we were here against Indiana State Breds and won pretty easily by 3 1/4 lengths. So I'm going to go with the horse who I think has been phenomenal around 1 turn in Latigo, and the class of the field, the 7 Fortin Hill. I'm hoping one of them catches nobody listens, because nobody listens is going to be blitzing out there, and we'll have the lead early.
Yeah, nobody listens. I mentioned he's faced better horses than almost everyone except the other one I'm using, and this is it, Fortin Hill. Yeah, a huge class drop. By the way, why is this? I mean, they even just forgive the Grade 1 Churchill Downs race. Like that Keeneland race should make this horse better than 6-1. I think this is one where the odds are way off. It's a big reason I only went 3 deep in here, but boy, 6-1 on this horse is interesting. And yes, as Chris Mallow asked, Fortin Hill is an Indiana-bred. He's a 7-year-old Indiana-bred.
Yeah, projected price on this horse on Equinedge 7-5. So they're 9-5. So they're expecting a drop here in the odds, and I kind of agree with that. I think this horse ends up going off the favorite, and you got to kind of give a tip of the cap to the placement of this horse too. I mean, this is a $575,000 Indiana-bred who has run through allowance competition, right? I mean, he has to run an open allowances now if you want to find that, and here you're finding a $100,000 state-bred stakes race. I just a great job in placing the horse here by Paulo Lobo.
Well, by the way, he's 7 years old. Like I was thinking, I was like, man, it feels like this horse has been running for forever, and he's only made 13 career starts. But I feel like we talk about him way too often. No offense to him, but way too often.
Well, Lobo has him on so many undercards at Saratoga, at Belmont, Keeneland twice.
He probably scratches from a lot of them too, doesn't he? Maybe that's why his name keeps popping up.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's a couple in here. And obviously he was originally trained by Chad Brown as well. And this was way back in 2020. But hell, we were doing the show back then. And he won and then went and faced win in the Grade 1 Forgo as well. I'd be surprised if we didn't talk about those 2 races as well. So at Chad Brown to Belmont to Paulo Lobo, this is one we've discussed many, many times.
It just never goes away. All right, let's move on. Like the penultimate. Wait, we just talked about the penultimate leg. We'll move on. 5th and final leg. Boy, I forgot what race we were talking about already. Talking about Fortin Hill. 5th and final leg. Horseshoe Indy. Late pick 5. Wednesday, June 28th. Race 9. Back on the turf for 12 Indiana-bred fillies and mares 3 and up. Routing a mile. You had your single earlier. I've got my single in this race. But where did you go on top?
I'm going to let you take it away because your single is my top pick.
All right, that's the number 8, Tourist Star at 3-1. Horse's second start off the 11-month layoff. Second start at age 4. Second start with Michelle Lovell and this trainer last time out. Set a pretty hot, pressured pace. Felt the horse did a great job to fight on for third and gamely hold on to it. You look at this field, there's no early pace pressure that should really come up and gang up on her. So I think she easily can wire this field as long as she gets out of the gates well. And I like that Ishard's going to be riding her. So yeah, I'm going to single her a little dodgy, but I feel pretty confident in it.
Yeah, to me, the clear top pick here because it's going to be the pace, and this is a place where you do want to be forwardly placed. I do have one other must use, and Doc, this time you're stealing my thunder. 3, Golden Heist, the other must use here. This is an interesting horse because I don't generally like horses who are 0 for 13. But if you just go to the grass races, it looks a lot better than when you include the dirt races, because we've only been on turf 5 times. We've only been on turf 3 times with this trainer. Those are clearly the 3 best races of this horse with the trainer, and was 3-1 last time against a lot of these other horses. And in that race, a horse named Singleher went gate to wire very, 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 very easily. And this one was in the 10 post, broke out, was slow, was 5 wide around the first turn, never had a prayer in that race. Now we're going from being the outside post the last 2 times on turf, 9 of 10 and 8 of 9, to the 3 post here. So huge post position switch there for the 3 horse in this in the 3 turf starts. I think that you're going to see a lot more speed from Golden Heist, kind of like you did 2 back when this horse just missed at this level by a half length on this turf course going this distance. And now you're getting 12-1 on the horse. So I think Golden Heist is awfully live here.
I don't hate the pick. She's bordering getting closer to career maiden status, but these are also Indiana-bred, so I guess beggars can't be choosers here. It feels like she's getting close to getting that win, though. I don't know if it's in this spot. I think the pace doesn't really set up as well for her, but you got to respect that effort that she had 2 back. 12-1 seems like a big overreaction when she was 5-1 2 back and then bet down to 3-1 off of that. So do you think you'll get 12-1 on her?
I'm not sure. There's a garbage truck in the alley right now, so I'm muting every time I'm not talking. Equinedge has 8-1 as a target price. I think it's probably closer to 6-1. I think this horse takes money. It was bet 3-1 last time. I think it's probably going to take some money again this time. So I'm guessing we're going to be about half what we are on the morning line. But I'm going to go 4 deep here because I liked a couple other horses that were in that race last time. So I'm going to go with Little Gray Feather here, the 9. Little Gray Flower here, the 9 horse. That race again, just completely ignore the winner. Look at everything right behind it because that's really what the key was. But the Emerson's Dream, who is the 11 horse in this spot and your second favorite, 7-2 on the morning line, got a dream trip. So was sitting on the rail both turns, was able to be the only one really chasing the leader into the lane where everyone else was trying to jockey for position and figure it out toward the back of the pack. I don't see Emerson's Dream being able to get anywhere near that trip again. And I really like the middle move we saw from Birds of a Feather, who's the other horse I'm going to be using out of that race. So I'm going to use the 7 and 9 here as well. I think both have a right to improve, especially the 7, only a 3rd career start, both of them being on the turf. I think they both have a right to improve here. You're getting 6-1 and 9-2 on them. And I would much rather be using either of them than Emerson's Dream, who beat them both last time.
Horses I considered, yeah. If I didn't love the pace setup for the 8 so much, I thought these were interesting horses, including I had the same feeling as you did on Emerson's Dream and wanting to fade that horse, especially at such a short price there. 7 Birds of a Feather feels like she's got more talent than we've seen from her. That's kind of what I like about her as well, and I can't really explain it. I just watch her replays and you're like, there's something more there. And I thought she showed a little bit of improvement from the first to the second start. So yeah, good interest there. I just think the pace setup favors the 8 so much here. It's hard for me to see anyone really being able to reel her in.
Yeah, I agree with you on the pace setup. The problem is the pace setup set up this horse last time really well too, and was breaking from the rail, and was $1.30-1, and still it wasn't even close to winning, right? So I think it's a horse you kind of have to use because of the pace perspective, but not one I'm sitting here willing to single like you are, because I do think there are a couple horses in here that have a shot at running her down.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I to cover Wednesday's Late Pick 5 at Horseshoe Indianapolis, Wednesday, June 28th. If you were listening, we'll give out our tickets one last time. If you're watching, take a look down below. For 50 cents, I'll go first. I'm going to go 110 with 2, 3, 7, 10 with 2, 8, 10, 11, 12, 4, 7, 11, and then single the 8. That's $60 for me, Mr. Somich.
I'm going to spend just a little bit more money, play a 50-cent ticket, go 4, 5, 9, 10 with 2, 3, 8, 10 with 10 with 4, 7 with 3, 7, 8, 9. That'll cost you $64 for 50 cents.
Easy big spender. I'm out here spending 60 and I can't afford these $64 tickets.
Yeah, I'm really breaking the bank compared to you here. How loud is the garbage truck right now?
Oh, okay, now I can hear it.
Yeah.
When you're speaking, the microphone's picking you up and not that, but when the second you stop speaking, all of a sudden, that was the first time I've heard it all show.
Yeah, that's why we're jumping in and out on the mute.
Hey, the important thing is you remember to unmute yourself each time you do it. You haven't, at least that I've noticed, you haven't messed that up yet. Over at racingdudes.com, you can check it out. Of course, you are watching or listening to the Magic Mike Show, but Aaron's latest rankings, unfortunate news about Two Phils, moves way up the rankings after just a super impressive Ohio Derby effort. Again, makes me think, God, he almost won the Kentucky Derby. That was so cool. And I don't know, Mike, that might be the last time we ever see him. He has a pretty unfortunate ankle injury, going to require surgery, so he'll be okay from that. But Ravelli didn't sound overly optimistic about this horse returning to the racetrack.
Yeah, this is a real bummer. That Ohio Derby was a performance. I mean, what we saw last time out of the second place finisher, and then what Two Phils did there. I mean, it looked like the two horses in the lead were standing still when he went right around them. So Bishop's Bay, I thought, ran a pretty good race. I thought Bishop's Bay had a huge chance when they were like midway through the backstretch because of the pace and the setup and where Two Phils was versus where Bishop's Bay was. And oh my God, Two Phils just crushed that horse. And it's like how you go back to Bishop's Bay last race, Arcangelo, just by a nose over Bishop's Bay. So it's not like this isn't a horse that has not raced against good company at that distance. So that was a hell of a performance from Two Phils, and it sucks we're not going to see him at Saratoga because he was one of the ones that was pointing for the Travers. It's the first one we've lost from what could be a phenomenal field in late August there up in New York. But hopefully Two Phils is okay, and hopefully we get to see him again. I would be very surprised, though, if he runs again. I think it's off to stud here.
What's unfortunate for the horse's legacy is that he never won more than a grade 3, right? Street Sense was a grade 3, Ohio Derby grade 3, Jeff Ruby grade 3. And the way, the talent that he has, you're like, well, that's a grade 1 horse. And it's like, well, he's going to retire without that to his legacy. So we'll see. Gorgeous horse, though. I like looking at the pictures of him on the screen there. It's too bad, too, that Jareth Loveberry broke his arm or something happened. He fell off of a horse earlier in the week, and he had to miss the ride. So he couldn't even be there for that performance, let alone the last one for the horse itself.
Yeah, it's a bummer that Loveberry off the injury wasn't able to ride him. I'm going to be interested to see how good of a sire Two Phils is. Chris Morello talking about it in the past year, just saying he's the only one horse in this class with pace that finishes. Yeah. If he's able to transition his skill set over to his progeny, they could all be very, very good horses if you team them up with good mares because you have early speed, you have distance, you have closing kick. He's when you go back and you look at his overall set of races, it's really impressive how many times he was close to the hot pace and everyone else faded, but he was still around toward the end. Obviously, the Kentucky Derby was a race down at Fairgrounds where he did the same. And when he didn't face that, he just blew by pretty much everyone except Instant Coffee in that first race at Fairgrounds. So it's a bummer. We're not going to see any more Two Phils.
Over at racingdudes.com, in case you didn't know, we now have a Best Bets feature where everyone on the Racing Dudes team and a couple of our friends, we're selling our best opinions from the sports and horse racing worlds. What this does is it updates daily with our picks, and it shows you the profit, wins, losses this week overall. And you'll be able to click on someone. Will show me. You can go back and see how I have done recently with my picks. And thanks for being reminded about that. Rangers, first 5 under. That was such a screw game. But anyways, hey, you can see here it updates so that we're kept honest with what our bets are, so you can check that out. But yeah, racingnews.com, best bets. That's kind of the amalgamation in a more centralized version of what we do each Wednesday through Sunday, which is at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Dudes Who Bet Daily, Mike Somich, the host, as long as he is available, of course.
Yeah, it's today is a fun baseball day. I don't know if you looked at the schedule or not. We've only got 6 games. I have 6 bets. So I have something in every single game except one of them. I took the over in the Reds and the Orioles, and I also took the Reds. So I doubled up in that one. But I think it's going to be a fun day. Like the White Sox as a dog today. I think the unders in the first 5, the Brewers, Mets, and Twins, Braves are good looks as well.
Make sure you join us every Wednesday through Sunday. It's a lot of fun. We talk about horse racing. Definitely been getting super into the baseball and doing very well. As Aaron says, yeah, go Reds, go Brewers, go Nationals. It's crazy. Our text chain between the 3 of us has just turned into all baseball every day, and never in jest. It might have started that way a little bit. It's a legitimate, it's a baseball text thread now.
Yeah, I bit the bullet. I subscribed to the $24 a month Amazon Prime package as well. So I'm now watching baseball as well. Yeah. I've been hooked. It's been just such a phenomenal run over the last 4 weeks betting baseball that I'm like, I can spend $25 a month to be able to watch what I'm now betting on.
Hey, you're just giving back to the kids. That's what you're doing, right?
Totally. I'm just giving back to the kids over here.
You can get more of Mike's interesting takes on what he does with his money, and of course his MLB and sports picks at Twitter at Somobomb 18 number 8. I am at Curtis Kalleward. If I don't stutter over that, at Curtis Kalleward. Corporate Overlords at racing_dudes. Over racingnews.com, I mentioned Aaron's new rankings are up, and you can see where 2 Phils landed. Probably, unfortunately, the last race we're going to see out of him, but a hell of a race to get out of him. And also, Aaron, in the latest Rockets Hits and Heartbreaks video, explaining what he did well and where he could do better from Belmont Park last weekend. So that's a great one to check out as well. And like I said, we'll be back every Wednesday through Sunday for Dudes Who Bet Daily and Magic Mike Show on Thursday. Mike, I don't know where we're going to go. I feel like we have to go to Ellis Park because that's where everything's kind of happening this weekend. I know you're not going to love that, but
I veto. I'm not going to Arlington Park at Churchill Downs at Ellis Park. What about? Oh no, I can't. I got my hat in the mail, by the way. Yeah, Breeders' Cup.
What does it
Sanity
say?
hat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that one. There's got to be somewhere else. Couldn't we just do Belmont? Like, just do a track that.
Okay, so the Belmont's possible. We've got the Nehru, which is for 3-year-olds, or for the sprinters, and then the Dwyer. The Nehru's not a Breeders' Cup winning you're in this year.
I mean, we probably should do Ellis. I think more people would listen to Ellis than anything else. But, I mean, I just don't like Ellis.
Because you've got the Foster. You got the Breeders' Cup winning you're in the Foster.
Yeah,
no, we are not doing Losal. Get the forever veto Losal.
But the problem with the Foster is it's like a grade 3 race.
It's a grade 1, and it's a Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the Classic.
Yeah, have you seen the horses though?
Well, I listen. I can't help that.
I mean, it's a brutal field.
The Preakness was a grade 1. That field wasn't the best.
That's fair. What about the Woodbine call?
Are we really debating Woodbine versus Ellis?
It's a grade 3, grade 2 on the turf, grade 3, grade 2 on the turf, grade 3. Come on, baby. Let's do it. Woodbine.
Hang on.
When is 20-cent tickets?
King's Plate. Is this King's Plate prep weekend? No.
It might be. It's the Highlander. Come on, man. It's a nice 6 furlong turf sprint.
No, the plate trials in a few. Wait, no, that's next month. Shit, this is the prep for the plate trial.
Yeah, the Marine's a sire-making race.
Shut the fuck
up. All right, we're doing Woodbine. Executive decision. We're going Woodbine.
All right.
Bigger field, better payoff.
Canadian Parks. That's Fort Erie, my friend. Canadian Parks is Fort Erie.
What's the Assinawa track? Park?
Assiniboia?
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
I can't not hear it. Someone in the press box was drunk one time at Santa Anita. Wasn't Aaron this time. And they were talking about, the races were all done. And so the Assiniboia, I think it's called. It was on TV, and they were talking. Someone comes in drunk, and goes, "Oh, it's the old Assiniboia Downs," and I was just like, "Well, I can't ever unhear that again." So,
someone needs to buy a Blame horse and name it Blame Canada. That would be phenomenal.
Ontario-bred Blame horse that wins the Queen's Plate.
Thought about it, but that would be incredible.
God, just get him. Just
Ontario-bred too. You're running it.
Oh God, that would be incredible. And then, of course, it can handle the 1.25 miles. It just couldn't win. You would never win the triple crown with it because one leg of it's turf and it's a Blame horse.
Says the guy who picked the.
And that's called a callback, kids. Aaron says it's not bad having an Ontario bred if you're running it in Iowa where you're totally eligible for those Ontario bred purses.
Yeah, Husker going to be
all
out
right.
there. Is Husker running next weekend at Woodbine? Yeah.
I guess he's running at Prairie because that's what Aaron wants us to do next week. Anyways, yes, we're going to do Woodbine this week. So roundabout way to say come back on Thursday, July 1st is the Saturday. Come back on Thursday the 29th. I can't even look at a calendar right. Thursday, June 29th, we'll be covering Woodbine, late pick 5 here on the Magic Mike Show. Please join us if you haven't already unsubscribed and left everything that we do. And make sure you come back on Wednesday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for Dudes Who Bet Daily. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck with your bets this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.